Another record-breaking day today on Wall Street. Dow Jones shatters yet another record, up 182 points, setting an all-time high in the Dow Jones at 27,674 points. But why did the New York Fed have to intervene today? It's Thursday, November 7th, 2019. Please make sure to share this video with everyone you know. Put it all over your social media. Make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification down below so that you're notified with the newest video. I've had people comment to me and tell me they're not being notified, so you may have to check on a daily basis for a new video. As you know, it is getting harder and harder for people to find videos like this. So please share this video with everyone. Put it all over your social media. Make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe. So another record-breaking day on Wall Street. Dow Jones shatters records. Yet, Wall Street Journal this morning, New York Fed adds $115 billion into short-term liquidity to markets. So as I'm watching all these shows, as the propaganda is being shoved down my throat, telling me how great everything is, why is the New York Fed yet again having to come in and inject $115 billion in these markets if there is no problem? The answer is there are big problems. There is big danger ahead. They know it, and they're doing everything they can do to prop these markets off and to fight this depression that is coming to America. I went through a couple articles today. I'm going to share them with you why I believe things aren't as good as the media and the television is telling you. And for anybody out there that wants to comment down below and tell me why things are so great other than the propped up stock market, please do. Give me some real viable evidence, some real hard statistics and facts of why this economy is booming as the media is telling us it is, because I really believe this economy is horrific. I believe it's sick. I believe we're watching this economy die right before our very eyes. And many people have no idea what this is going to lead to, but it's going to lead to the biggest economic collapse the world has seen. On top of this collapsing economy, we're watching this collapsing debt that cannot be sustained. So this mixture of all this massive debt and this dying economy is going to be a formula for massive destruction. This president vowed to shrink the trade gap, yet it keeps growing. That is not being addressed. And when we continue to watch this trade gap widen, debts and deficits expanding, what do you think this is going to do to America? I don't know anybody out there that believes that that's good for America. Wolfstreet.com, what heavy trucks are saying. This past October, heavy truck orders, Class 8 trucks, orders were down 51% compared to last October. This industry is literally getting devastated. And the reason being is because the amount of freight to be shipped is shrinking. We see what's happening with the shipment of automobiles, retail shipments, and we look at railroad, we look at trucking, we look at barge, we look at air freight. Everything is down. And that's because there's less product to be shipping. Yet, we are breaking records across the board on Wall Street. So it's just another contradiction. Here's an article that I looked at today, and it was a report on the immigrant population and what we saw for the year 2019. 550,000 people are in this country just in 2019 that are here that should not be here. 350,000 kids traveling alone and adults traveling with children were released into the States, while another 200,000 were undetected. That number is much, much greater than 200,000. So this number of 550,000 should be much bigger. But we'll go with this number. This is 550,000 people that are in this country that should not be. And as we are heading into this collapse, as I'm reading all of these facts, all these statistics to you, here's another 500,000 plus people that we're going to be responsible to take care of, the taxpayer, when these people get sick, when these people are incarcerated, when these people are taking government subsidies, when these people have kids, we're paying for it. And when you look at the numbers, we bring in about 1 million to 1.2 million people that come into this country legally, 100% legal. This is a lot of people coming from all over the world in a time where this economy is shrinking, where technology and AI is coming in and replacing jobs. These people come in from all over the world speaking different languages. They go to your kids' schools. Why do you think the school system in America is plunging? I think it's ranked number 42 now in developed countries from number 1. How far we have fallen. We have no more room in our prisons because we have people from all over the world now in our prisons. This is costing America billions upon billions of dollars. It's threatening the safety of Americans as we see crime rising. When you look at the population numbers in county, in federal prisons with people from around the world, it's mind-blowing. And the amount of money we're paying for all this, okay, it's incredible. We have the best immigration system in the entire world. We allow more people from other parts of the world to come here, 100% legal, yet these people cut the line and break the law and basically snub their nose to everybody coming over here doing it the right way. And the American taxpayer is going to continue to pay for these people. And the American taxpayer is making less and less and less. Their net income is shrinking as we continue to pay more taxes and pay for more people who shouldn't even be here. And this is going to come to a head at some point, and it's just going to continue to get uglier. This is zero hedge. U.S. service sector slump hits 3-year lows, worst job cuts since 2009. Obviously not what you would think you would see in a booming economy. Job openings, another one, zero hedge. Job openings plunged to 18-month low as slide in quits confirms job market slowdown. We just took in over 500,000 people that shouldn't even be here, and another 1 million people that we took in legally. And yet, look what's happening to the job markets. We might as well just let the whole world come over here and nobody will have a job, and we'll just continue to print money to take care of everybody from around the world. Another one, zero hedge. U.S. productivity unexpectedly plunges for the first time since 2015 as labor costs surge. Labor cost is up 3.6%. 1 in 4 Americans defaulted on their student loan, study finds. This is very interesting. 25% of the borrowers college loans defaulted within 5 years. So this is a really bad gamble for these banks or financial institutions that are making these loans. These people face serious consequences. Collection fees, wage garnishment, and payments from federal programs can be withheld. Also, tax refunds and Social Security can be withheld. 14% of these people end up owing more than they borrowed, with interest and unpaid balances. What they do is they put a pause on their payments so they can take a break, but they're paying a price to do that. So they're paying interest, they're paying an amount of money to pause the payments. And so it's something that every one of you, if you're going to college or thinking about going back to college or thinking about going to college, it's really something to think about. Is that degree going to be worth what you think it is? You really need to do due diligence and really think about that specific degree and what it's going to be worth when you get out. These people have literally tied a lead anchor to their leg and jumped into the ocean. They are drowning in debt. And this is something that you can't get out of. Student loan debt, they are not going to forgive you of it. If you default on it, they are coming after you hard, and they're going to make sure you pay one way or the other. So we keep acquiring massive amounts of student loan debt, and auto loans continue to go through the roof. People continue racking up massive debt here between college loans and car loans. Global debt surges to record high. Markets are up today. They have no concern about debt. And this really blows my mind. These massive debts that we're running up right here in the United States of America, and the massive debt the world, the globe is running up, yet the stock market could care less about it. It's really absolutely shocking. Here's another one on Zero Hedge today, why Illinois government has become predatory and unjust. Because states like Illinois and New Jersey and Los Angeles and many, many more are in massive trouble, massive debt, and who do you think they're going to go after to try and fix it? They're going to go after you, the taxpayer. They're going to raise your property taxes. They're going to raise your sales tax. They're going to raise everything they can because of the bad loans, the bad decisions that these politicians made. People who don't even have a pension are having their taxes raised to pay for those people's pensions. So, you know, here you are making $14 or $15 or $20 an hour, and you get your taxes raised to pay some school teacher who has a pension of $73,000 a year. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's fair that these states made these lavish promises that they knew they could never keep? And so now they're in a corner, and the first thing they do is go after you. While they pay higher taxes, the property values are falling. When you look at areas of Chicago and Illinois getting taxed to death, these people are literal tax slaves. And now everybody is getting the hell out of states like Illinois. So what happens? Property values are going down, right? There's less buyers. There's less people moving into that state. There's less buyers for those houses. So prices come down while taxes are going up. And these states typically see a massive surge in crime also. So everybody's trying to get out between the crime and the taxes, the loss of property values. Everybody's trying to get out. And Illinois is a prime example. California, another example. And this is going to continue to evolve throughout the country, and people are going to go to the freest states where they have the lowest taxes. That's just common sense. Speaking of California, Zero Hedge today, almost 80,000 California retirees receive over $100,000 in pension pay. 1 out of $5 paid out by California's pension fund last year went to someone who is drawing an annual pension of at least $100,000. I mean, just like think mathematically how long this can last. I mean, they are really getting into really serious trouble here. Nearly half of California's cities face a high risk of fiscal distress due to rising pension costs. Again, just like Illinois, these politicians made promises that they knew they could never keep. It sounded great in the beginning, but now as we get deeper into this, as people are retiring, as people are moving out of states, they've got big problems. And as people continue to move out of these states, as people continue to make less money in the service sector, how in the world are they going to afford to pay people $100,000+ a year? There's people with pensions exceeding $200,000. Rising pension costs will force working class Californians to pay higher taxes while receiving fewer public services. They're going to cut public services out because they've got to cut every corner that they can, and they're going to raise your taxes. So you're going to pay more in taxes and get less service. Just like when you go to the grocery store, you pay more for that box of cereal and you get less cereal and you get less quality. That's what's happening here in America. And it's not just Illinois, it's not just California, it's happening to a multitude of states, and it's only going to get worse as this. So to summarize a little bit about what's happening today, markets at all-time highs with the help of the Fed injecting another $115 billion into these markets today, as that top 1/10% get that injection of wealth, that top 0.1% continuing to get most of the benefits. I noticed this, the car lots are packed with very few people looking at cars at the car lots. The lots are packed bumper to bumper with new cars. The RV lots are packed with RVs, millions upon millions of dollars of inventory. I don't go to Walmarts anymore, but as I drove by one the other day, it is absolutely packed, jam-packed. I drove by a 99-cent store, a couple of them. The parking lots were packed. So the top 0.1% are doing very, very well. And I see a majority of people shopping at Walmart, dollar stores, and the 99-cent stores. I read an article today titled, "The Economic Crash So Far, a Look at the Real Numbers." And I'm going to kind of go through this article, paraphrase it a little bit for you. And it made some really, really good points. And one of them is this: people are going to be so shocked and surprised when this collapse hits America, they're not going to know what to do, okay? But I want to make one thing clear. This collapse has already begun. It's going to get much worse, but the collapse has begun. We go over on a daily basis of what's happening. We go over statistics. We go over the facts. We go over the evidence. There is no doubt the collapse has begun. But when we look at today, where the Fed injected an additional $115 billion into these markets, the Fed is extending this whole repo market longer and longer. The scale of the amount of money is getting bigger, and the problem is getting worse. When this whole thing comes tumbling down, there will be massive fear and confusion. The bigger the shock, the bigger the psychological effect on the masses, and the average Joe isn't going to know what to do because they are 100% unprepared. The fear and the confusion allows them, the central banks, the globalists, to make changes to the power structure of a nation or the entire world. You know, we tell people about the collapse in retail. We talk about the collapse in manufacturing. Manufacturing literally in a depression at this point. We talk about the explosion in consumer debt, the explosion in corporate debt, and their response to you and I is, well, the stock market's doing great. So nothing else matters to most people other than the stock market, and now the stock market being at all-time highs. So that means everything is good. Doesn't matter about transport, doesn't matter about manufacturing, retail, doesn't matter about student loan debt, 1.6, $1.7 trillion, doesn't matter about all-time household debt or all-time corporate debt. None of that matters. What matters is that the stock market is at all-time highs. GDP stats are a joke. Employment numbers are a lie. But the average American watches 15 minutes of news a night, watching the media, and they are being told the opposite. They're being told to jump in these markets. Everything's safe. The consumer's strong. The banking industry is strong. The markets are great. There's no better time to be investing in real estate or the stock market than now. And these people know this is the all-time biggest bubble we've ever seen. So rigged statistics and ignorant citizens make up reporting real data almost impossible. So it's a deadly combination of people who are zombies, they're brain dead, and they're following this media who has an agenda, who's using rigged statistics. And you know, this is why you really have to be conscious of your environment. You really have to use your own two eyes and ears and really see what's going on out there. Because if you listen to everybody on TV, they would just tell you everything is great and it's only going to get better. Many people just don't want to hear anything scary or negative, or just simply can't accept something bad can happen in these markets. How many of us know people like that? These people are in such denial. They don't want to hear about anything negative or scary. That's how they're preparing their futures. If the global economy is not on the verge of collapse, then why have central banks been propping it up for decades? And it's so true. I mean, again, another $115 billion today. How can anybody say that these markets are healthy, these markets are safe, these markets are free? They're propping them up literally on a daily basis. I don't care if the market goes to 30,000 points tomorrow. That just means they probably pumped in $500 billion in order to do it. What if they decide to bring these markets down? Now, I know a lot of people don't like to think about that because it's scary and it's negative, but it's reality. And it's why every one of you needs to be prepared. An event like this would benefit them. It benefits many central banks, benefits the globalists. It's rigged in their favor. It's the biggest wealth transfer the world will ever see. The crash is happening right now, and I'm going to give you some statistics to verify that. Right now, the GDP here in the US is 1.9%, and that's with them juicing the data. And while they're manipulating the numbers, juicing the data, the best they could get is 1.9% GDP. 95 million people in the US in the labor force are not working. These employment numbers, I believe, are 100% rigged, manipulated. Retirement age now went from 65 to 67. High-paying jobs are far and few between. Most are low-paying or part-time, and most of these jobs are in the service sector. We have lost our manufacturing sector almost completely. Manufacturing is only making up about 10 or 11% of GDP now, and those high-paying manufacturing jobs have been sent to Asia. They've been sent to China, and I know there's a handful of people out there that love China, love that communist regime, love that our jobs were shipped out, and cannot, look more forward to seeing America fail. Wages have not kept up with inflation. And anytime you go to the grocery store, anytime you go to the gas station, that's a reminder of that. Home ownership has been plunging since 2006. Who's buying all the homes? Well, big financial institutions, hedge funds, they're buying them so that they can rent them to tax-paying citizens. U.S. manufacturing has fallen to levels not seen since 2008. U.S. factory orders have been slumping all this year, 2019. U.S. services PMI continues to fall. Corporate profits overall have tumbled this year. Projected future profits have been drastically adjusted to the downside. Corporate, consumer, and household debt are at historical highs. U.S. trucking and railroad freight continue to log steep declines in traffic and goods. So with all this stimulus, all these stimulus injections and low rates, it's not stopping the crash. They're trying to slow it down. It may be slowing it down, but it is not stopping it. The crash has already begun, and they're doing whatever they can to slow it down, but it is not going to stop it. And I can guarantee you this, at some point, the speed of this collapse is going to accelerate. At that point, they lose all control of it. Be your own central bank. Make sure you have hard, tangible assets, food, water, all preps, most of all, security. They're creating massive debt with all this stimulus. So as they print this money, and as we continue to see quantitative easing, and we're going to see more stages of quantitative easing as we get farther and farther into trouble, the only thing they can do is lower rates and print money. And what is that going to do? It's going to create more debt, which is going to create an even bigger problem than we have right now. People watching this video, most of you are free-thinking, independent human beings who are aware that there's a massive problem here in America, and it's not going away. It's getting worse. It's magnifying literally on a daily basis. We're not going to stop it. So we've got to be prepared for this storm. The central banks are preparing for it. And many banks aren't going to survive this. There's going to be a lot of wealthy people that don't survive this. The people who are going to survive this are the people who are awake and the people who are walking close to God. God bless every one of you. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you share it, and make sure that you are preparing every day that you have, and make sure that you thank God every day for what you have. If you watch my video, my last video of all these homeless people, inadequate amount of food and water, don't have medical resources, living completely off the grid, it's eye-opening. how these people are doing it. Temperatures up to 130 degrees, that part of the desert in the summertime. It's just unbelievable. You don't want to be where those people are at. And some of those people made very, very bad decisions. Some of those people landed up getting massive medical bills or got into financial trouble, got behind, didn't have a family to rely on. Now they're homeless. Now they're in a tent city. There are people that lived in really nice houses and drove really nice cars that are in tent cities all over America that are homeless. There are vets who served this great country who are homeless living in tent cities. There are many people that are going to be living in tent cities that don't know it yet. So I'm going to leave you with this. Take every day that you have to be appreciative and to be thankful to God for everything you have. Take every day you have to prepare. Just prepare a little bit. Every day you have, do something constructive to prepare a little bit. And most of all, take every day that you have to be walking closer to God. And I can't repeat this enough. Thank God for everything you have. We cry too much about what we don't have, and we don't get on our hands and knees and thank God for what we do have. If you're walking today with 2 legs and 2 arms, you are a very blessed human being. If you had a meal today, you're very blessed. You're probably richer than 90% of the world already. You may live in a little tiny house or a little apartment in a bad neighborhood. You're richer than 90% of the world if you have running water and you had a meal today. So I'm going to leave you there. Make sure that you are praying for this country. Continue to walk close to God, and I'll talk to every one of you very soon.